You know, somebody's going to be standing here, and you know, assuming you have cell phone power to charge your cell phone, you know, you can call each other.
Worst case scenario.
You didn't drain your battery texting.
Yeah, that's right.
Now we're talking an apocalypse now. No cell phones, no power,
Yeah.
no
Just
batteries.
run for the mountains.
Just go high.
So, you know, we'll go from the Type D trim here. We'll go down to the end here and talk about our Type F trim. All right. So the Type F trim, just another double interlock pre-action, okay? And we still have our same solenoid valve here. All right. We've still got a lower supervisory switch. But what's different now, the actuation trim, instead of that solenoid valve, when it opens, it's not discharging right into the drain. It's going into the inlet of this really pretty LP low pressure actuator. Right? So now our first interlock is our heat detector. Right? So our detection system goes off. Oh, that's man. Dang kids. So, alright, we're in alarm. Once again, fire alarm's going off, and I don't know if you could hear it because the beeping was going on, but our solenoid valve already opened. All right, but the system didn't trip. All right, because our second interlock, which is our sprinkler, all right, is now a mechanical interlock. Oh, I forgot to tighten that. The union was every time we drive down the road, and there were some rough runs coming over from Denver yesterday. Yeah. It's like driving through an earthquake. So.
Well, Colorado's got the worst roads.
You been to South Dakota lately?
No. Well, we do have green.
So.
9 hours worth across there.
South Dakota?
I don't know. It's a long drive.
80 miles an hour.
Huh?
80 miles an hour. All right.
Oh,
Just like Wyoming. Yeah.
parts of Utah.
Yeah.
Utah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
got pulled over in the Black Hills.
You need to do that to Kansas.
got 85 in Utah.
Yeah, Iowa, Kansas,
Yeah.
Nebraska.
You can do that at 80?
No, they do.
Oh, you can. It's flat.
Because it's
It's rated.
just flat and
Let's do
straight
it.
lowering and
I know,
That's
but
cool.
10 years ago.
So now our solenoid valve is open, but the system didn't trip. We've got to open the sprinkler, we lose air pressure. Basically, we turned our pre-action system, double interlock pre-action, into a low pressure dry system now, right? So,
man.
all right. So, anybody want to guess on what's the difference? The Type D here trim is our most popular double interlock system we build and sell. All right, but we've got this Type F option. Both of them are electric pneumatic technically because, you know, electric detection, pneumatic sprinkler operation. This one is just a dash electric on it, where this one is truly electric pneumatic. All right, so, you know, if you think about it, why would you want one over the other? Especially if you called up Michael or Scott and said, hey, I'm doing a freezer. Which of these double interlocks would you recommend? We're always going to recommend the Type F. And the easy way to remember that, F stands for freezer, let's say. That's not what it really stands for, but it's a good reference. All right, and the reason we would do that is if you look at, you know, like we just talked about, the business we're in is worst case scenario business, right? Well, if you think about that forklift story and the Interact sprinklers, all right? Or let's talk about that other thing that happens in electrically actuated systems. That is the sprinkler guy, electricity is magic, right? To me anyway. So if one of those magical events happens, and let's say it was a lightning strike or a power surge, and you had a Type D system and you can do this, it doesn't matter, there's no rules that says you can't put this electrically actuated electric system in a freezer. But if you have a lightning strike or a power surge or some other hiccup in the electrical system that causes a surge, fries the panel, energizes the solenoid valve, this system will trip. All right, if that happens and you fill your freezer system piping with water, it turns it into a popsicle. Once again, it's great service work for the guy that took that phone call, but not so great for the guy that has to go out and change that, fix it, right? Because you take that pipe out, thaw it out, and put it back in. All right. If you look at that Type F system, and if you have that same magical event with the hiccup on the electrical system, and it opens your solenoid valve, it didn't trip this system. All right, because our second interlock is now mechanical, it's not electrical. All right, no batteries, no wires tied to it. So it wouldn't trip this system. So it's basically a little safety factor built in for a freezer application.
When freezers, most of the time though, they have dry pennants and the pipe runs above them. So, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
When the pipe's exposed to the cold, like a parking garage, then
Yep.
you got
Well,
problems.
same application.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could
Yeah.
use the same.
So freezing cold.
Yep. And then if you ever want that double interlock pre-action where that authority having jurisdiction or yourself or your customer wants a totally fail-safe system that once, the zombie apocalypse hits us.
Well, they have $10 million pictures on the walls. They want a pre-action or a
Yep.
double interlock pre-action system.
Yep. But if you don't want the worry of electricity with it, you can go with this system, which is our third double interlock pre-action option, and it's called the PL system. It's a totally mechanical system. Pneumatic. So we still have detection and we still have sprinklers. Sprinklers are no different, but the detection is using a dry pilot line. So instead of using an electric heat detector, we're using a mechanical heat detector. And that's all the sprinkler honestly is a mechanical heat detector. And this is it. These on this line here I actually have pilot line detectors on it, so they're listed for that application. So when you start looking at, you can use sprinklers, but if you're doing a dry pilot line and, let's say we're going to protect an ordinary hazard facility, all right? So NFPA says ordinary hazard, you're just using standard spray sprinklers, 130 square feet maximum, all right? Well, if you use sprinklers on your pilot line in that scenario, your pilot line detectors now, they're technically a pilot line detector, but you're using regular sprinklers, you're limited to 130 square foot space. Right? But if you use this mechanical or a listed pilot line detector, right? Now you can space this detector the same as you can space this detector. All right, up to 50 foot by 50 foot. So you don't have to buy as many. You don't have to put in as much piping. Pretty good advantage, and it's totally mechanical. So the best part is you don't have to hire an alarm contractor. You've still got monitor switches. You're going to have your control valve, water flow pressure switch,
Low air.
and you're actually going to have two low airs because you've got two separate systems of piping. And both those systems of piping, one your sprinkler system and your pilot line, tie into a double pneumatic actuator. So it's obviously the same pneumatic actuator. Except it's got two chambers now. You've got an upper chamber that is going to have pressure from your system pushing the diaphragm down, and then you've got this center chamber for your pilot line. One chamber pressurized will keep the actuator closed, but it takes both chambers to be depressurized before the actuator opens and trips the system. So you can have loss of AC power, no batteries to lose power, so if you have loss of air pressure, now we're talking a week or whatever, your air compressor tank finally runs dry, the system will trip, but at least it'll trip for you. You don't have to be under a fire watch all the time. So, same principle though. We lose air pressure in the pilot line. And I am in low air on the system side here, but we'll clear that. Bring that up to pressure, and so until we lose pressure in the sprinkler system now, this one won't trip. So, questions so far? And I'll go through the resets on this, and then you guys can.
Do they use those pilot lines like that on a deluge system?
Yeah, you can.
I was thinking that I installed one time
Yep.
at an ethanol plant. There was a full deluge system, but then we ran those pilot lines. I think that's how they had it set up.
Yep.
It's been so long ago.
Yep, and depending on where, if it was probably for exposure protection, they were probably a dry pilot line, just like this.
Yeah.
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 So, the DDX valve sets up a little bit differently than this EX valve. So I'll go through the DDX valve, and then I want to show you the difference.